Hey everyone, it's me again, Brittany, and I'm here today to do a tag video, which is really exciting because I feel like I haven't done a tag video in a really long time. So yeah, this is gonna be the books I'll probably never read tag. I will link the original creator down below. I actually recently saw Mackenzie over at Mackenzie Lane do this video and I was like, that is such a good idea. So the biggest reason why I wanted to do this tag was because I really love the controversial videos. Like I love watching everyone's like YA books that everyone else loved but I hated videos, but I feel like I'm not original enough in that. Like I normally love all the books that other people love. So I needed like this kind of setup to make me be like, oh yeah, that's kind of controversial, I guess. Because I love watching controversial videos. If you don't, I don't think this one's majorly controversial in any way, but like, I don't know. So yeah, let's just kind of get into it. I have my little notepad if you see me looking down. So the first question is going to be a really hyped book you're not interested in reading. Now I really had to think about this one for a while because again, I will read almost anything, like as long as there's enough hype behind it, I'm like, wow, that's really exciting, and I get just as excited as everyone else is about it. So I had to really think about this one, and I finally decided on a pretty controversial one actually. I don't own it, so I will probably never read, or I have no real interest in ever reading Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I know, that's crazy, and again, this doesn't mean that I will never read it, it's just like I probably never will. Every single time I see it in stores, I'm like, if I find it for a good deal, like maybe one day I'll buy it, but until then, I'm just not interested enough in it. I think that the premise of the story is amazing. I think that everything that the author does with it is amazing. I think that it's been a great book for a lot of people. I just personally am not interested in reading it. I'm not a big contemporary person, as you guys know, so it's not something that's at the top of my list. And then that's really it. Like if I can find it for a good deal, I probably will buy it and then maybe eventually read it. I feel like I'm gonna get murdered for that one. So number 2 is a series you won't start / a series you won't be finishing. And I will start almost anything if given the right material. But this series is one that I really don't see myself ever finishing, and that is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I recently read this first book this year, and I own the second book. I own the Mime Order, so I will probably end up reading that eventually. But after that, I have no interest in buying the third book. I heard that this is going to be a 7-book series, and the first book didn't capture my attention enough for me to want to read 7 books. I'm really excited though. I know Samantha Shannon has a new fantasy book coming out. That one I will probably pick up, but it also doesn't help that they had a cover change for these, and I loved these covers, and it's just, I don't love the new covers, and I hate having mismatching books, and I'd rather keep these ones, so I'm like, you know what, 2 books is good. The next question is a classic you're just not interested in. So there's a lot of classics that I'm just not interested in. Classics are really hard to get through, and sometimes I've read a couple. I read like Wuthering Heights and Tess of the D'Urbervilles that just weren't worth it in the end. I read it all and I was like, what did I get from this? Nothing. That's how I feel. I mean, if you're a lover of classics, I am in awe of you because I wish I was, but they're just not my thing. It has to be very interesting for me to get into it. So there's a lot of classics that I'm not interested in. But the biggest one that I can think of, the one that's like very popular that I like every single time I see it in the bookstore, I'm like, I won't even buy the fancy edition of that because I just know I'm never gonna read it. And that is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I think this is the book that they joke about all the time, where it was like he was getting paid by the word or something like that, and that's why it's so long. Number 4 is any genres you never read. There are a couple. I almost never read historical fiction, though that can change. It depends on the kind of historical fiction. I do want to read Outlander, so I guess that's a historical fiction. And the other one though that I really never read is nonfiction. There are some like books that I will get myself to read, but for the most part I was never crazy interested in history, which, okay, that's not really fair to say because I'm really interested in like interesting history, like European history and like ancient history is all really cool to me, but US history, since I live in the US, never never caught my attention, basically. Like, I thought the Salem witch trials were cool, and after that, like, zoned out because I had no interest in our Constitution and stuff like that. So that is what I relate to nonfiction, and that is why I never read nonfiction, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm coming off as a total like ditz in this video, and I'm sorry about that. Obviously, if any of the books that I'm saying or any of the things that I'm saying you disagree with, if you want to try and convince me to read those things down below, I don't mind. Yeah, go ahead. I will totally listen to your opinion. This is just for right now when I was thinking like, yeah, I probably will never read that. And then number 5 is a book on your shelves you'll probably never actually read. I will likely never ever ever read A Book of Spirits and Thieves by Morgan Rhodes. This is the prequel / urban fantasy of the Fallen Kingdom series, and if you guys have listened to anything that I've really had to say about the Fallen Kingdom series, it never really caught my attention, it never interested me. I just always found it lacking of something. Like, I still finished the series because I really wanted to know how it ended, and I do think the ending was pretty solid, but all the books I basically gave 3 stars after the first 2. I just dragged myself through them, and I remember when I first tried to pick this book up, I like read the first page and I was like, what? It's an urban fantasy? But it's a prequel, but it's set in the future, but it's set right now, but it's also in the past, but like, it was just so weird and confusing that it was not anything that I wanted at all. And then after finishing that series, I'm like, I don't really think I need the prequels anymore. I only do own the first book in the series, so I don't feel the need to have to read it. Normally when I own the first 2 books, this is when I'm like, okay, you spent money for this, you have to read the first one at least. But I will probably never read this. I hope you guys don't hate me after this video, and I hope that my points were fair enough. I don't think they were very fair, but I don't question things when I don't want to read them. I just kind of just accept it, like, okay, I don't want to read that. So yeah, that's gonna be it for my tag video today. I hope you guys kind of enjoyed it, even though I feel like it wasn't the best. I already said to leave comments down below if you want to try and convince me to read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, but if you could also leave any comments saying any kind of videos that you'd like me to film, I would really appreciate that, because I feel like I'm kind of like running out of ideas, but I really, really want to film, so yeah, leave those kinds of comments down below as well. So thanks for joining me again, guys, and I'll see you in my next one.